Hey, this is Meredith's husband. I've got some SEO advice for you, but I'm going to keep it really simple so that you can understand it, so it makes sense, and most importantly, so you can actually use it. Some pretty big news.
Oh, really?
In the world of SEO and Google, specifically Google.
Oh?
If I said to you,
Yes.
Google algorithm, what does that mean? What does that phrase mean to you? The Google algorithm.
That means how you appear in search engines.
It's Google's internal program that determines all the rankings.
Yeah.
The Google algorithm.
Yeah.
And it's been top secret since forever.
Shh, don't say anything.
For many, many years, it was like the holy grail. It was like this big, huge, that's all SEO was about, was like trying to figure out what is in the Google algorithm.
Yeah.
And I think the name algorithm makes it seem overly simplistic, makes it seem like it's short, but it's got to be
no, it does
one
not.
of the most massive programs.
I think
ever.
algorithm is, but also isn't it always changing and evolving?
Parts of it are. Yes. Well, it's so massive that parts of it have to be. There are, So
That's what I would think. Okay.
Anyway, the reason I'm asking
Yes.
is
'Cause I
there's
hold the
been a leak.
secrets. What?
There's been a leak. Somebody leaked part, not the whole thing, but part of the Google algorithm.
Somebody was angry. Somebody.
I don't know what it was. I don't know why
There's
the
got to
person.
be a reason, a personal reason.
They know who the leaker is.
Oh?
The guy came out and if it's him, if this is true, and who knows, maybe this guy was just making this up, but a guy claims to have leaked the information. The information that was leaked has been verified. Uh-huh. So it does appear to be real. It appears to be real, and it appears to be current. So it's not like leaking data from 20 years ago.
Very exciting. We're on the edge.
Yes, that's the kind of.
Spinning on the edge.
Kind of. So anyway, this guy claims to have leaked the data, and under the guise of shedding light on all the Google lies, all the lies that Google has been telling. They've been lying about everything.
Have they?
And the headlines, so the leak was, I think, about 3 or 4 weeks ago. I see it in the headlines all the time. I realize my own algorithm feeds me stories about SEO, probably doesn't feed everybody stories about SEO. So you might not be seeing these headlines. If you do see any headlines, they will likely be things, they will have something to do with the Google lies.
Wow.
It's very sensational.
I would think so.
And this guy's video was like, I don't know. I watched this video. It seemed to me this was a load of shit, but he seemed to take a very solemn stance. Like he was a whistleblower and he said phrases like, it's time for this to come to light. Oh. And all these things. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, he's a former Google employee. Duh, of course. And he has, starting his own SEO agency.
No.
So I wonder, this is really, talk about good publicity when you're starting an SEO agency.
Yeah, this is the way to do it.
Holy cow. If that's his game plan, props to him for doing that.
Well done.
Sure enough. But
everybody's got to have a gimmick.
So the leak happened 3 or 4 weeks ago. Headlights have been coming out. Now, the size of the leak, I don't know what percentage of the algorithm has leaked, but people are still going through it. I've seen it. I've seen some of the raw data. I can't understand any of it. It's really engineering code. I've heard people who have even more technical knowledge than I do say it's data for map nerds, like Google Maps. It's like stuff like how Google Street View interprets repeating symbols, such as a crosswalk. Mm-hmm. A crosswalk is like a repeating symbol. So it's how does Google identify and determine things like that, not earth-shattering stuff.
Yeah. And not interesting, really. Oh, well, maybe it could be interesting for...
Sort of. Who knows? Anyway, there are almost 15,000 ranking features described. I don't know exactly what that means.
But is he going to share it if he's going to, or is he going to
he has shared. He has shared it. I'll get to that in a second. He has shared it. It's all out there. But we need to wait for people to translate it. So there's
Can
almost
Google AI translate it?
there's almost 15,000 ranking features, whatever that means. I'm not exactly sure, and 2,600 modules. So 2,600 modules with a bunch of features within each one. That's all kind of cryptic to me. I don't know what that means, but it seems to suggest it's pretty big. There's a lot of information there. So a guy named Rand Fishkin is probably the most well-known person in the SEO industry. He's pretty cool, actually. I have to say everything I know about him and when I've seen him, and he's really cool. He and one of his business partners they're going through the data now, and they have a webinar scheduled for the 27th of this month, June 27th, to kind of explain.
Ooh. Have you reserved your seat?
I have.
Good job.
Have you?
Not
yet. Now, some people have already sort of dug in and tried to translate some of this. So I'll go over a few of the things, and I'm going to try to talk about some of these the big lies that people are saying are now uncovered.
Google's quote lies?
Yeah, Google's lies. So the tone of these articles and the headlines is that, oh, Google is super evil. They've been lying to us. And that is very much not the case. Yeah, that's really not the case. So I'm going to go through a few of these. I think we're going to do another episode after June 27th, after somebody explains to me and kind of summarize what you might be able to take away and do as a result, if any helpful information has been uncovered.
Very exciting.
So one of these Google lies is that Google has always said, not always, but Google has said, spokespeople for Google have said, they don't have an authority score. So websites like SEMrush and Moz and all these other sites, they often they have some way to rank websites and say, this website has an authority score of 80.
Buster's snoring.
Sorry, Buster.
It's okay.
So I guess it's been uncovered in this thing that there is some sort of authority score. Well, yeah, duh. I mean, if you know, and I don't know the details, but like that's not really surprising. But the fact that they're making a big deal, like, oh, Google said they don't have an authority score, and they do have an authority score. They're evil. I don't know. Okay, that's
name,
okay.
Maybe social media.
Okay, so there's another one. There's a few more.
I bet.
Google has also said they don't use clicks for rankings, right? So they don't use the number of clicks that a website gets to help determine what to do, how high it should be in the rankings.
Okay.
Evidently, they do use clicks in some aspect. And they have said they don't use clicks, but they've at the same time in the past said they kind of do. And I think what's dangerous here, and people have always asked me, or they seem to think that if you click on a website, if you sit at home and click on your own website over and over and over, you're going to push your site up in the rankings. That is way not true.
Yeah.
That is way not true.
Pretty clearly.
And people have said, oh, they're going to pay people in China to sit there and click on their website. Way not true. That is not what happens. Now, what might happen is if, hey, Google displays a website on, say, the first page of search results, say 100,000 times, and nobody ever clicks on it.
Yeah.
I would say, yeah, like Google should probably take that into consideration.
I'm sure they do.
I'm sure they do. So this is not a simple situation, but people are pointing to this one a lot.
Okay.
I don't think it's a very big deal.
No.
I still don't think it's the case where if a website gets a lot of clicks, it's going to go right to the top of Google. That would be a self-reinforcing situation. You'd go to the top, you'd get lots of clinks. You'd get lots of clicks because you're at the top. You'd stay at the top because you get lots of clicks. You get more clicks. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So something else is that Google has said for a long time now, there is no sandbox. A sandbox would be like a kind of penalty area. So if you do something against Google guidelines, they sort of kick you out. They put you in this sandbox.
Okay.
And they said there is no sandbox. Well, of course there is a sandbox.
Of course there's a sandbox.
It is not. It is probably not a single sandbox for all bad websites that they go to this sandbox. But of course there is. Of course there is some
little shovels and pails.
Yeah, because then people would ask, well, how do you get out of the sandbox? And it would be this big thing. Of course there is some sort of to the sidelines type of measure where you're not going to appear in search if you break Google's guidelines. Like, that's a no-brainer, but people are making a big deal about that one too.
Okay.
They've also said, Google has said they don't use information from Chrome, the browser, in any way to help determine rankings. And evidently, and this to me is the most interesting one. This to me would be the most egregious lie, let's say.
Because Google owns Chrome.
Yes. So they should, like that would start to be, or I would think it would start to look like a privacy concern if they were using they're not going to use your personal data with your name on it, but they might use data in aggregate to see what people are doing and where they are going. I can see where people would be concerned about that. You want to use a browser where, or perhaps you want to use a browser where what you do is not being shared in any way whatsoever.
Isn't that
evidently
Brave?
There are privacy browsers. Yeah, Brave is one. DuckDuckGo is one. What was the other one we used to use? Epicenter?
I don't remember.
I forget. There are more and more. If you're using Google's browser, I personally would think it's probably safe to assume that somehow your anonymized data is going to be fed to Google. I would expect that. I don't think this is
Google's
really
search, of course.
Yes. Yeah. I don't think it's that surprising. I do see some concern there. If you're privacy minded, you don't want that happening. Well, then you probably should choose another browser.
What if you go on private?
Incognito. Incognito. Incognito
doesn't it look like I don't know what that is? Ha 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 ha.
Incognito doesn't keep search history. It's not what people think it is. It's not it's not anonymous. It just doesn't keep history, basically.
But were something to go wrong, the authorities would be able to go back and track when you said how to make your own beep.
I don't know about that. And incognito, probably not. If you're not using incognito, then probably. Hopefully, if you're making your own, well, let's not go there. I was going to say if you're going to make your own bombs, I hope you're using. All right. So something else is, Google has downplayed the importance of links. We've talked about links a lot, right? That's how Google was. That's how the entire thing started. It was built on links.
Yeah.
That's what set Google apart from every other search engine. And so
just ask Jeeves.
Yeah, really. A little more recently, they have kind of downplayed the importance of links because people try to spam that system. There are all sorts of schemes that people use to try to get links. And I think Google's saying or trying to downplay the importance of links has been to combat people trying to do that.
Stuffing everything with links.
So evidently, in this leaked documentation, it's obvious that links are still pretty important. Well, we knew that too. Yes, we knew that too.
A leaked link.
So these are some of the things hitting headlines. More will be coming, and after the 27th, I will be very excited to tell you.
So much.
But so far, nothing earth-shattering.
No, except this guy's going to get a momentary their 15 minutes of notoriety.
He's going to get a lot of attention. He's also probably going to get sued.
I was just going to say, I wonder.
I would think, I don't know. I saw this. I don't know how I came across this video. It was linked in one of these articles.
Linked.
I wouldn't be surprised if the video were a fake. If this guy did not leak it.
Really?
If he was claiming. If you really did this, why would you go make it public and point yourself out? Because I would think that you can have 100,000 lawyers on your case the next minute.
Yeah. Yeah, my brain just doesn't even visit that planet. So
but if you went out, if I went out and made a video and put it on social media and said I leaked all the information and that video went viral, and I did not leak all that information, I still got all that attention.
Yeah, but you're also known as a liar.
Still get a lot of attention.
At what? Yeah, I guess so. Yes, correct.
Okay,
got it.
So my point is, there's a decent chance that you're going to be seeing a lot of headlines about Google lies about this and that, and Google's awful. Just before you rush to any judgment, let's give it a little time.
Yes.
Even the most technically proficient people I know in the SEO industry are taking, like this guy, I'm looking at an article here that actually works with Rand Fishkin. And it says he has only had, when he wrote this article, he had only had a dozen hours to really dive in deep concentration mode on this.
Okay.
So, which amounts to basically nothing is what he's saying. So he's going to probably spend 100 more hours trying to figure this stuff out. So we need to wait a little while.
Yeah.
It's not like The Secret is going to be like one sentence and
It never
I could just
is.
spread it around.
Very interesting.
All right, that's all I got.
Okay.
Oh, you know what else? I want to make a small announcement. I don't want to put this announcement into the closing of the podcast or the intro of the podcast because I don't know how it's going to work. So if you scroll down and look at the show notes, there is a link in the show notes now. You can send a text message to us.
Wow.
So I host this, and it's not my phone. It won't go to my phone number.
Stay away, people. He's mine.
This
Hence the podcast name.
I use Buzzsprout to host the podcast. And this is a feature that Buzzsprout has just announced.
Yeah.
You can have a link here, and if you send a text message, it will go to Buzzsprout, and then I'll just get it as an email. So I'm not getting your phone number. I don't even know if I can reply yet. I literally just put this thing on here, and I'm just curious how it goes. So if you want to try it out,
please.
if you want to request a topic,
If you want to send chocolate,
if you want to make a complaint, you can write it down on a $50 bill and mail it to us.
Thank you, Brandon. Hey, thank you so much for listening. We really hope that you find this helpful and useful. And if you do, what you could do for us as a thanks would be to, drumroll please, yes, leave a review. Yes, everybody says it, I know, but it really does make a difference. Take 3 seconds, leave as many stars, say something really nice about what you like about the podcast and maybe why other people would like it. It would mean the world to us, especially my husband. That better? All right, I'm going to try one where I'm not going to be charming.